This episode of Kawaii-Fi Radio, the Demon Slayer film is out, and we have a simple but important question to ask. Is it any good? Well, we'll let you know during this episode. We're not going to answer it now, otherwise what's the point? The team try their hand at ASMR.
Welcome to Kawaii-Fi ASMR.
Hello.
Live action.
I'm sitting right high.
And we try and figure out who could play Alucard in a live-action Hellsing.
Who in the hells do you get to play Alucard?
Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson.
Robert?
It's over 9,000! NANI?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio!
And welcome to another episode of Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast we dive into the world of anime and manga. I'm Kyle, and joining me are my co-hosts, Kenny, Farah, and this week, a special guest, Asumi from Asumi Cosplay.
Kyle.
I've done it again! I've done it again!
You've done it again.
Oh no. Oh, so sorry. I'm so professional.
We really need to start telling this like every time he does this.
We just need like a sign that you can hold up.
You did it wrong, Kyle.
Yeah.
You did it wrong.
You know, we need name badges. Kyle needs name badges for
I
us.
need name badges. Okay, so yes, we're here with Kenny, Fafa, and of course Asumi from Asumi Cosplay. Hello!
Hello.
How is everyone today?
Should we go into it?
No, let's not.
Yeah. Farfar has had one hell of a day so far.
Yes.
Hell of a week. I woke up this morning thinking I had to go to work, and I freaked out because my alarm didn't go off.
Yep.
And I drove halfway to work, ringing up my manager, stressing out, and she's like, "It's Saturday."
I had that in high school once.
You don't understand. I literally chucked on my uniform backwards, hair up, grabbed my toothbrush and my shoes, chucked them in the bag, left my dog at the house because I dropped him off at my parents, left him at my house, ran out the door, just stressing. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to, because I actually opened up the workplace. And I was like, I live 20 minutes away from my work. I'm never going to make it. And I was like, and then, yeah. So
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
it's a Saturday.
Yes, we are recording on Saturday for release on Monday, our usual schedule. But yes, we have our lovely guest presenter, Asumi from Asumi
Yeah.
Cosplay with us. Hello, Asumi, tell us a bit about you.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Asumi.
Hello.
Shy. Hi everyone. Yes, I'm Asumi. I've been cosplaying for the last 4 years, and I ended up starting my own business, Hoshi, Australia, for the cosplay community, and I love it.
We ended up meeting you because HoshiCon.
HoshiCon.
Yeah,
That was a great
which you
time.
set up, which was a great
Thank
fun.
you for coming and helping out.
I was the opposite. I met her because I stand Luna, but that's a
Oh
different.
my God, I've known Farah for many, many years. And
For Lady
Oh,
Fafa.
I've known Lady Fafa for many, many years. And it started out with you buying one of my Eater bags.
It did.
Yes, and Lady Fafa stands Daya very hard.
I do.
Yeah. And that's how we kind of met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do stuff with Staluna as part of the idol group here in Perth.
Yes.
And you're obviously a big anime fan as well.
Yes, I think you have to be when you like cosplay. I'd hope to be.
You'd hope so. But yes, well, look, enough about you.
Yes,
as
enough.
Let's talk about me.
As we always say. Let's talk about what's ahead this episode. So we're talking about Demon Slayer. You might have heard of this small shonen
Demon
series.
Slayer.
Yeah, Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Yeah, it's very underground, very niche.
underground. So
Small.
this is a shonen phenomenon which has taken the world by storm. Its film Mugen Train or Infinity Train is out now, smashing box office records. But is it any good? Well, we'll let you know during this episode. We're not going to answer it now, otherwise what's the point? We're going to have a look at the show's history and talk about, what Demon Slayer is and why it's become this big phenomenon, as well as having a look at our usual segments, of course. And hey, if you are new to the show, consider hitting the subscribe button, join the Kawaii-Fi community. You can find us pretty much on everything now.
Everything.
If you're on YouTube, you can take us in your pocket on pretty much any podcasting app, and vice versa. If you'd like the immersive, picturesque experience with all the pictures and information,
Our show
that's
is pretty
YouTube.
much everywhere. We're getting everywhere we can. We're in fact standing right behind you right now.
Yeah. Like, just don't turn around. Don't turn around. It's a little bit awkward if you're on the bus and you're listening to us.
Welcome to Kawaii-Fi ASMR. Hello, live action.
Oh, dear.
I'm sitting right high.
You're like, no, I'm not comfortable with that. Look, there's still plenty to talk about this episode, but first, we need to do this.
I have no idea how old I am or where I came from.
Nani? Ohio.
Hang time! I gotta go!
I have to know. Hooray! I did the thing.
Oni-chan, nani wo miru?
What we're watching.
Oni-chan. So, Asumi, what have you been watching?
I've been watching. Well, I've been reading a lot of Beastars. But I know that season 2 is going to be coming out in Australia soon.
Yes, very soon.
So I hope that comes out soon. And also Jujutsu Kaisen, which is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Now, Beastars Season 2 is currently airing in Japan, and unless you have a VPN and a Japanese Netflix account, which, you know, we have a friend who does. And
A friend of a friend.
We've got a friend in Japan. We all have friends in Japan.
We do.
But we haven't actually been able to watch any of it because my VPN no longer lets me access Netflix.
What?
Yep, which is...
Get a new VPN,
I
man.
need a new VPN.
Wow.
But apparently the second season is doing really, really well. And if you haven't seen the first season, definitely check it out because damn, is it good. Like,
It's not what you expect
Oh, no.
Yeah.
when you
Like-
see a wolf and a rabbit.
Yeah. Just a heads up, a little bit of parental guidance required for this show because there is violent scenes and adult themes and discussions around a lot of things that, for I'd say under 13s, might be a bit confronting.
Yeah,
but
don't watch it with your children.
Don't watch it with your kids. But it's definitely like it's one of those shows which just kind of popped up and everyone went, "Whoa!"
It's very unique. I think it was the animation style that really got to people.
Yeah.
Well, because it was good CG.
Yes.
Like
And it's not something you see every day.
no.
I mean, I think we compared it a while ago to Zootopia, but this is like the gritty, edgy reboot of Zootopia.
Actually, that's a fair call.
That's what we said. Yeah, it's the dark, gritty Zootopia.
Yeah.
With
but
more adult themes.
with more adult themes. So season 1 is on Netflix. I think the
Take that,
first
Disney.
24 episodes. The second season of it should land. I believe it's meant to be landing in July.
That makes sense.
On Netflix, which is
Yeah.
similar to what they did last time.
Yeah.
There's about a 6-month gap. This should be having another dub.
Do we know if they've changed the intro?
I think they
Yes,
did.
they
Yes.
did.
Oh, do we know much about it?
I don't know if the new intro is also Ali, but I believe it's not as strong as the original intro,
Like
which
every
is
second season,
mean,
to be honest.
Yeah.
That would be a hard act to follow.
well, My Hero Academia is definitely an
that was
exception
always-
on that
yeah,
because
true.
first season of My Hero's not particularly strong, that opening.
Yeah.
You get to season 3 and then, you know,
Boom, baby.
my story is just like...
Oh,
oof.
my story's amazing.
But yes, Kenny, you've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen.
I have finally caught up to all of y'all, and I am very, very sorry that I slept on this thing.
Yeah.
I'm still sleeping on it, so
Okay, so
It's good.
But it's upside down Kakashi.
reverse Kakashi is king.
there's so much I'm watching at the moment. That's why, so
It
I'm
is
waiting.
hard to juggle everything, but this is a typical shonen, like many of the things we'll be talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, it's beautiful and it hits all the right beats. Just the art for it is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the characters are fun. It's
Yeah.
really fun characters.
Like
as well.
like any kind of shonen, it's got a big ensemble cast. It's got all these different people with all these different crazy personalities and all these different kind of crazy powers with crazy rules. And I don't know, I've got to episode 19 and 20 recently, and they're kind of showing up everywhere because the fight for it was just amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
And
it
there's
was.
there's definitely a character for everyone to like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know, like
There
like
definitely is.
like Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Yeah.
You know, there's someone to like.
There's someone
so-
that's just going to be endearing to you, someone
Yes.
whose personality you're just going to click with.
Yeah.
But unlike Kimetsu no Yaiba, there's none of the characters I actually hate.
Oh, yeah, we'll get on that.
What I'm finding myself doing with anime at the moment, with Jujutsu Kaisen and some others that I'm, TikTok is getting me wanting to watch these shows.
Ah.
So Jujutsu Kaisen, the amount of TikTok references on there is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Demon Slayer, same thing. Like, is TikTok the new medium for anime?
I don't know if it's so much
Oh,
the
not
new
medium, but like the new ad.
Well, I
kind
mean,
of-
let's be honest. TikTok is kind of the main outlet now as a social media platform for basically the under 25s. Is kind of the way it's been spruiked. Like if you're under
Everyone.
25 and you're into anime,
Yeah.
chances are you're on TikTok.
Yeah, and I think it's also like it's kind of like fast media, fast
Yeah.
fashion.
Because
sort
you
of
do a
thing,
lot
'cause-
on TikTok as well, don't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm too active, but like I watch it, and it's just like you can flip through things so quickly, and by the time you've like looked at the time, you've been on TikTok for like 3 hours.
That's so
already.
true.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing with that is that you see a lot of like anime recommendations and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, ooh,
It's great if you've got ADD or a hangover.
or nothing to do.
Just lying in bed, looking at it as you're going to sleep and dropping the phone on your face. Just great times. Now, Lady Fafa.
Yes.
I got it right. I mean, like I actually have a sound effect for when I get it right. It's a very important
really?
sound effect.
Congratulations. She did the laugh.
No, that was the sound effect.
She is gradually turning into an anime character.
So,
Soon we shall know you as Imoto.
Lady Fafa,
Yes.
I'll get you to keep it brief because we need to do an actual episode deep diving on
We
this.
do.
But you've been watching something the kids are into. You've been watching Danganronpa.
To be honest, HoshiCon, it was like the biggest thing cosplayed at that
I
con.
know.
And it was amazing.
It was
All
amazing.
The cosplays are so cool.
The costumes were incredibly well made.
Unreal.
That's the thing, though.
And even
It's-
if they weren't made, their makeup and their wigs were
yeah.
like starred so well.
That's the thing, though. Danganronpa, it's not a new anime.
No,
Like,
No, it's old.
So-
And the game is old.
The
how
game's
is
very
it
old.
actually maintaining its popularity after all this time?
that's what I was trying to
Well,
figure
very
out.
intrigued.
I think this is sort of like the inverse. So, like in the radio industry, up until recently, before we went to the whole digital platform, you'd have like all these songs which are really popular with the young crowd,
Right.
and then for some reason, everyone over 40 would like a song, and they would all go and buy it, and suddenly this really unusual song would end up at the top of the charts. I think it's the inverse of this. It's a point where everyone in the anime industry, typically people who watch anime are sub 40. There are obviously exceptions to every rule, but under 40 and usually 20 plus is the core audience at the moment.
Fair enough.
Outside of Japan, of course. And now we're getting to a point where all these young, new incoming anime fans have discovered Danganronpa.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's went viral through TikTok. It's gone viral through Twitter. Twitter's got it everywhere for some reason.
Yeah.
And cosplay community.
And
as
cosplay
well.
community as well. And it's caused this resurgence of something. It'd be like, say, Cowboy Bebop suddenly, back then wasn't a big
That's
hit
true,
and
yeah.
then suddenly
Well, it's like
became a big
JoJo's,
hit.
isn't it?
JoJo as well.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
JoJo's
huge.
the same as well.
So now, I know we're probably going to do a whole deep dive on this, but what's your verdict so far?
I've started with 3 episodes and I decided to watch it with the dub. And I'm not impressed with the dub. Like, everyone talks about, but I heard that there's a thing like the game and the actual anime have different dubs. And there's only some
yeah.
characters that are the same and some are different. I was like, okay.
I've also
Curious.
heard from several Danganronpa fans that the anime isn't a very good representation of the series.
I'm going to have to
Ah.
go rewatch it again in Japanese because it was
Yeah.
really like, when you want to watch an anime in the background and you just put
But
the
a lot of
English one on?
fans, like lots of Danganronpa fans, say, play the game. Don't watch the
Yes,
anime.
I've
Don't
heard
watch
that
the anime,
too.
Play the game.
The only way I could describe it, and it's only for the first few episodes, it's a crazy Among Us game.
Fair enough.
Okay, maybe
Okay.
that's why it's popular.
Possibly.
among
It could
us,
be.
I mean, I could be
maybe.
wrong, but that's how I interpret it. Like, just, that they're all like pointing their fingers at who did it. That's just like me on a Saturday night playing with my friends on Among Us and we're just fighting and, calling each other names. But we
Fafa's
love
a bit
each other.
sus.
Wow.
Lady Fafa's a bit sauce. All right.
Always
Well,
sus.
we'll look at Danganronpa properly. We
Yeah,
are going to do a deep dive.
definitely.
Not in the next 2 episodes because we've already got stuff planned for that. But it will be coming soon.
Cool.
It is on the board along
Yes,
with
yeah.
4 Kids episode, our Deke episode, and Sailor Moon episode as well.
Yeah.
I've been watching Cells at Work season 2,
Hey.
and it's definitely more of an ensemble cast the second season.
Hold on. Is this the black or this is a
No,
normal?
it's normal 1 season 2.
Ah, okay.
Because, yeah, they're,
Because
they're
the
going
se-
at the same
you've got
time, aren't they?
You've got both of them at the moment. You've got Cells at Work season 2 and Cells at Work Black.
How are they pumping that out?
Well,
They're
Danganronpa did it.
They're different studios.
Okay.
Yep.
Ah.
And Cells at Work Black is technically written by a different person. So,
Just called Cells at Work. Yeah.
well, they went and got permission from the original author,
I
and everything they
see.
went through had to go through the same process and the same research team.
They're pouring Red Bull into the animator feeding trough.
Yeah,
I
pretty
like
much. So it's more of a as I said, ensemble cast instead of just focusing on red blood cells. So you see like lots of other characters' stories, which is good.
Cool.
They've introduced like, it only is for 2 episodes, these adorable lactic acid characters, which are these teeny tiny things, which I can tell you the moment they get made into plushies, they're going to make bank.
You probably make them in your kids' cosplay, hey?
Here it comes.
Sorry,
Little
kids,
onesies.
you've been demoted. You're no longer
No,
platelets.
you don't
You're
understand.
actually.
She had her kids dress up as cells at work.
No, I
It's
know.
cute
It's like
as.
kids.
As
You've
the
been
platelets?
demoted. You're no longer
Yes.
platelets. You're now lactic acid.
Fair.
But here's the thing: it's ended after 8 episodes, and we don't know why.
That's
Only 8.
Only 8, and they've said no. That's the end. That was how much we wanted to do.
Interesting.
Of the original.
Of the original,
cells of
yeah.
work.
So not a 12, not a 24, not a 10, an 8. And don't be wrong, it's good. Like story wise, it's good. There are a little bit some lulls in the story, a little bit, even with that 8 episodes. And oddly, they've got a weird use of CG for crowds. So the other, do you remember like the outro for the original series has the red blood cell, not the main red blood cell. Hi, Liger, the cat's meowing. Has the main has a red blood cell walking along, back pushed up and carrying a box, and it's just walking constantly as the music plays.
Yeah.
They've used that animation but turned it into CG, and the characters are walking CG'd in the background doing that.
You reckon that could be just a time saver, something to give the animators a break?
It could be a bit of both, to be honest. I think it's possibly budget constraints, also COVID, of course, as well. That's something I want to mention. This story includes a mutated strain of influenza as one of the chapters. Now,
Really?
this is interesting because the Cells at Work manga has officially finished now.
Right.
The final chapter deals with COVID.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So they look at the COVID's
interesting.
effect on the body.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's really quite interesting. So it's kind of telling that they've went and actually done this mutated influenza episode without initially calling it COVID. And there are other mutations of influenza and strains which are similar. COVID's obviously not a influenza virus, it's a corona-based virus. But it's quite interesting. Also, macrophage cells, the maids stopped.
crazy
They've
one.
completely stopped wearing the yellow outfit altogether, and they're just constantly covered in blood, and it's still hilarious and a very unique look. It's like, I'm here to kill them. Yes. But definitely worth checking out. It's just a shame there's only 8 episodes. So I was really looking forward to 12 episodes.
Yeah, that's pretty unprecedented. I don't think I know any other anime that's like, gone into a second season and then just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Wait.
I wonder if it's because they're like, we don't need to make any more because maybe Code Black is.
Maybe.
Code Black is going
Perhaps.
for the full 12 episodes, and
Yeah.
that's gotten serious interest because, I mean, obviously parental guidance warning for Code Black. Normal Cells at Work, pretty much all ages and pretty good. Cells at Work Black deals with a lot of the more concerning aspects of body. So things to do with reproduction, things to do with diseases,
Smoking, caffeine, like...
the effects, some of these things which people who are over 18 typically imbued, and how that can impact the body. And it's definitely a much more mature take on the story.
I'll definitely check that one out.
It's really good.
Even the platelets are older.
Even the
really?
platelets are
They're
older.
teenagers or something.
Yeah.
And they're all
angry
little
and
kids.
rebellious.
It's like, I've had enough,
They've got
Mum.
more
had
work
enough.
to do.
Oh man, that's
This is
good.
like, they've got like a 5 o'clock shadow. And they're like, man, it's just been one of those days.
And then the heave ho will be like, heave ho, heave ho.
They end up sounding like the Killer T cells, the military guys in black. You're like, yeah. But look, that's what we've been watching the past fortnight. But we do need to get on to our main topic, and that is Demon Slayer.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
That anime was a manga?
That manga was an anime?
Manga-Kai.
Yes, Manga-Kai. We haven't used this in a while, but it seems fitting because we are going to be starting with Demon Slayer's manga, which has been only running since 2016. It's only 4 years. It's a really young series.
I read it.
I know.
from the start.
It's finished now as well.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my question is, what drew you to that?
I don't know. I just like flick through like all the mangas and kind of just see what's there, and then I'll give it a go. And then like I started giving it a go, and I went, "Oh, this is good." And then when it got the anime adaptation, I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited!" And it did it so much justice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
very happy.
My understanding is that the anime does kind of streamline the story quite a bit as well.
Oh yeah, it's
Which is great.
yeah.
Like less filler is good. We like that when it's done
Yeah.
well. Not what the recent second season of Promised Neverland have done. That stuff wasn't filler, guys. You needed that.
Even panels.
Yeah.
Like with the anime and the manga, there's literally panels that are like the same, which is really
And
cool.
this is what we've been saying as well. Like, there's a reason manga adaptations are so popular now, and it's because one, you've got an established audience, and two, the storyboarding's done for you already. So it's really good. And like some go, oh no, we're going to do it our own way. But if you want to, make the manga fans happy, follow the storyboard. But Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the manga, 23 volumes, 207 chapters. It started in Weekly Shonen Jump, ran its full course
Makes
there.
sense.
2016 to 2020, action, demon, historical, supernatural shonen. There is over 150 million copies in circulation,
Whoa.
Not only
which
that,
is colossal.
I actually grabbed this little factoid. As of December 2020, the entire Demon Slayer franchise is estimated to have generated total sales of at least 270 billion yen.
That's
2.6
insane.
billion bucks.
Wow.
That's
Wow. That's
like
a
for
lot.
something that's only been around a little while. That is just what a bloody juggernaut.
Yeah, it's done really well. Now, author is Gotoge Koyaharu. That's a pen name.
Okay.
No one outside of Shonen Jump actually knows who this person is.
What?
Oh,
The
I
author
like a good
has
mystery.
not revealed their identity, but it's been said by a Shonen Jump employee that Gotoge is a woman.
Makes sense in a way.
Despite no one knowing who she, he, they are, they've been included in Time's 100 most influential people this year.
I love that.
What, did they just appear on Time magazine in a mask? Or?
No, they just showed the
Question mark
Demon
on their
Slayer
head.
poster. That's all they've done. They just went, they've made this amazing thing. Here's the poster of it. What about the person?
So strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're used to having like people with pen
Something.
names.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it happened with like A Tale of Unfortunate Events quite a few years ago
Oh,
when we
Lemony-
were younger.
yeah,
Lemony
yeah.
Snicket isn't. It's a jumble of their original name.
It's who is it? Daft Punk,
Yeah.
Gorillas.
Marshmallow.
Well, Gorillas, we know who they are because it's the bassist
Yes.
from the
Yeah.
bassist from Blur.
We know them now. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But when they
Nice.
first started, no one knew. They've said their next work will be a sci-fi romantic comedy.
Ooh.
Sci-fi romantic comedy.
Yep. That's the
That's
next thing Gotega's
Look,
going
I'm
on
excited
That's
for
a bit of
that.
a jump
It is a
from-
big jump, but like if you read Kimetsu, and I'm not going to go into any spoilers or something, there is a part where you're kind of wanting some sort of romance, and I feel
That's
like
so true, actually.
yeah. So I think like it might be really interesting.
I mean, I can see that, but that's like sort of like going from like Hellsing to Kaguya-sama, isn't it?
Well, hang on. We did say Fairy Tale was there, and then like Eden Zero is pretty much doing the similar thing where they're going the space route too.
Yeah,
so.
That's fair enough.
Well,
yeah.
look, let's for those who are not aware of what Demon Slayer is, and that there are going to be people who aren't. This is the plot of Demon Slayer. So since the death of his father, the burden of supporting the family has fallen on Tanjiro Komoda. Well, Komoda Tanjiro, correct. Though living impoverished on a remote mountain, the Kamado family enjoy a relatively peaceful and happy life. When Tanjiro decides to go down to the local village to sell charcoal one afternoon, he has to take shelter in a local's house due to night falling and snowstorms. The strange man warns him of the existence of flesh-eating demons that lurk in the woods at night. When he arrives home the next day, however, he's met with a horrifying sight. His family's been slaughtered. The sole survivor is his sister Nezuko, who has been turned into a bloodthirsty demon. Consumed by rage and hatred, Tanjiro swears to avenge his family and stay by his only remaining sibling.
Okay, this is what I love about this one. He's just wandering around the woods, comes and stops us. There's demons in this wood. And boom, family slaughtered the next day. I mean,
there is demons in this wood. I feel there's a plot point coming.
oh, really?
So, yeah, here's the thing about if you've ever consumed a vast amount of media and stories or anything like that, the second you meet their family and see how wholesome and happy they
Yeah,
are,
that's it.
you just know that they've got like 2 days to retirement. You just know that they're going to, sail off into the
Something
sunset on the ship SS Long Life.
yeah, something tragic's happening.
You know that they're just going to die.
It's going to be like,
It's
Yeah.
the Disney formula.
it's the Disney formula.
It's the Disney formula. If dad is too good to be true, he's out of the picture. He's going to die.
Yep.
Yeah. So the story takes off from there. That's pretty much the first episode, and it's massive.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's done incredibly well because, let's be honest, the characters are well written, they're interesting, and we've actually got a grab from Aaron, who can't make it this episode, but he says he should be back next episode about what he thought about Demon Slayer.
The first time I saw Demon Slayer, I was really put off by the artwork and the art style, but when I finally sat down to watch it, it really warmed up to me, and the characters are well written, each in their own aspect. Even if I don't like some of the characters, I can understand why they're there and the purpose they serve, which is great character writing. When I went to go see the movie, wow, it was so incredible seeing it up on the big screen. They made use of all of the space they had. I can see why it did so well in the cinemas in Japan. And it's honestly inspired me to do a new cosplay. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, please do go see it if you can.
Now, we will get onto the film in a little bit, but, Kenny?
See, I think I'm going to have to disagree with a bunch of you here. I'm not sure I think all of the characters are very well written.
No?
See, the ones that you get on screen, they are great in their own right, but I find a lot of them, especially a lot of the side characters, very one note.
I'm with you on that, actually.
There was a comment that someone made to me that they feel like they are sort of like method actors who are sticking to that one character trope and just riding it into the ground. Like, especially later on when you meet the, like, super demon hunters, the Hashiras.
Yeah. I can appreciate that, and I think it's probably more to do with the limitations of the storytelling in the anime because you have that time restriction, because my understanding from the manga is there's a lot more background given to characters.
And I think it comes up later, like near the ending is like you
like,
really...
during the...
During... So there's arcs, and they go through all the Hashira. So I think with Mugen, Mugen is the flame Hashira. And you get a little bit more in depth, but then it keeps going.
And the
it
next
goes
one's
through
Kyoto, which is the flamboyant guy.
Yeah, it is flamboyant. So
it's
you
just,
do get through
it's like he is like a chief example. Like, I know that you get sort of like the backstory which justifies who they are, how they came to be. But it's the fact that, like, that guy especially just says flamboyant in every bloody sentence.
And the stone guy's constantly crying.
The stone guy. I think
feel like that is
his
just...
backstory is good.
Like, for something like this to have a flaw, you know, I feel like, you know,
it's fair, though,
nothing's
but,
perfect.
You know.
Well, look,
but it's just like, this is one of the singular things that I find objectionable or just sort of like slightly off-putting about this anime. Other than that, everything about this is great.
You see, for me, I just cannot abide Zenitsu.
Oh, I used to hate Zenitsu.
So much.
Actually, and when I first watched it, I was like, oh, God, I hate Zenitsu, everything about it. And then I think after I finished reading the manga, it got me. And then I actually rewatched it again with the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
no.
A kids one, but and I watched it in the movies.
I've got kids.
And
They're not mine, but I've got kids.
I got kids. But I watched it with them and I was like, oh, I do really like him now. So I didn't, the first time through, no. Second time through, definitely.
So he's a character once you've seen his final development, it grows on you.
Yeah, it grows on you real hard.
Yeah, I've got a mate who's very, very set on Zenitsu, really likes him as a character. I think it's that his backstory, which you see in the spider arc of the anime itself, that gives a bit more weight and depth to who he is as a person.
It does.
I can respect that.
Does.
I just...
Well, I think I like the voice as well of Zenitsu. Whoever voices
the voice actor's really good.
It's so good. The voice change. Woo!
Voice actor must have had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
I think for me the most frustrating thing is how loud he is. Because I'm like, despite being a journalist working in the media, I'm a bit of an introvert. The irony of this.
So it's sort of like more of an opposites thing for you.
Yeah, it's too much for me, and I do understand like why the character's been done that way, but it doesn't mean...
But at the same time, what's your opinion of his other cohort, Inosuke?
I couldn't stand Inosuke when I first met him, and after seeing the spider arc...
I was going to say, was it after he was unmasked? And then you went, oh, okay.
Oh, he's hot.
Oh, no, he's hot. No, it's like, you're watching, he takes off the mask. Ooh.
Oh, boy.
No. Look,
it was during the spider arc.
It was during the spider arc when you started to see him doubt himself and actually, instead of just being that one note, they started adding depth to the character, introducing why he feels that way, why he's pursued his route of being a demon slayer that way, why he's went through the beast training and so on. And that then made me go, okay, now I'm starting to see him. Like, I understand why he behaves that way. I understand what he's gone through to create that type of person. And that made me go, okay, I'm okay with that.
A few of these characters give off very questionable first impressions, but once the ball gets rolling, you're like, okay, I get you.
I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but I just came from the movie literally 10 minutes ago or whatever, how long we just started. And there's a moment in the movie where he just blew me away with his speech.
Yeah.
And I was like, boom, that's why I like you.
Yeah, that's in the last quarter,
Yes.
so watch out for that.
I think with the whole anime and the manga, it does take the character development very seriously, and maybe from how much you've seen of it, like you get like a bit where it's like, okay, they're really developing Tanjiro and Nezuko, but as you go, you get more in depth with every single character, and then right at the end, it all kind of just joins together, and then
it makes a lot of sense.
It makes so much sense, and you pull little bits and pieces.
Now, we do have to, let's quickly cover off some of the anime stats. So it's done by UFO Table, which is UFO Table. However, we now know officially, based on the animation from their opening for Demon Slayer, it's a UFO. They use a UFO as part of their animation for their logo.
Oh,
alien spaceship.
It's an alien spaceship. It's a UFO. So it's I've been saying it right this whole time, even though in Japan they don't even say it right either because they call it UFO table.
Intergalactic coffee table.
Nearly there.
It's close enough. Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, that's a fair point because in Japanese you don't have a separate O sound.
No.
You got a ooh.
And I got to say, UFO table.
Yep. No, we're calling it UFO Table. We're sticking with it.
Okay, UFO Table. I am so glad that they got the animation rights to this. I am absolutely blown away by
the animation is spectacular.
It's that there is use of CG, which we have sort of spurned and questioned for the occasional anime, like that bloody baseball one. Ugh.
Oh, Tamayomi.
Yes.
Awful. Yeah.
But they use their CG very, very respectfully, and when it's absolutely necessary, like in the action scenes where you see Tanjiro like dashing through the trees at supersonic speeds.
And the camera angles and how, camera in quotations, like the pans of it, how it's angling from the top and then it sweeps through the sides.
And this is something we've been discussing.
So cool.
Like, a show's anime is exceptional when you start talking about it in camera language.
Yes.
Because that sets it apart.
I tell you, it's amazing.
It sets it apart. And the movie completely ups that. But Season 1 released spring 2019, 26 episodes. Season 2's due this year. We're not sure on the official release date, but I'm suspecting second half of the year.
It would be. Yeah.
To be honest, I'm thinking even last quarter.
I was thinking last quarter just because of the holiday period as well.
Yeah, it's perfect time for them to do it. But look, we will come back to Demon Slayer shortly because we need to talk about what's been kicking around in anime news.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Tonight on Anime Communique.
Great story, compelling and rich.
Nothing brings ratings up like a little controversy.
So what's our controversy today?
We always have controversy on this.
Well, actually, we do have a bit of a controversy on our hands.
Oh, yeah.
Anime is heading to the Oscars, as usual. They've announced the short list of films who have qualified for eligibility for the 93rd Annual Academy Awards, including all the anime. Now, last year was a bumpy year for anime at the Oscars. They had so many, I think it was 32 anime films from Japan qualified. None of them were selected.
Wow.
This year, we have in the shortlist Demon Slayer, the movie Mugen Train, Earwig and the Witch, Lupin the Third, the First, Ongaku Our Sound, which is a sort of like... We haven't had a release in Australia, at least, for this one, but it's kind of like a bunch of slice of life, load of kids who are kind of, bit dodgy and all that, and it's a comedy. We've also got Ride Your Wave, which was phenomenal, and A Whisker Away. Now, a maximum of 5 films from the full list of eligible films can receive nominations for the animated feature film category, and that's going to be announced March 15, so next weekend. The awards will be held on April 25th because of COVID, so it's been bumped back a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Now, Hollywood Reporter has forecast Earwig and the Witch as the only major threat.
Really?
And that's not saying it's going to make the top 5. That's saying it's the only threat to the top 5. I'm sitting there going, have you actually watched any of these films? Because,
I mean, Earwig and the Witch was it was nice, but I don't think
No,
it
you
was...
know what it is though. Studio Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli,
That's it.
that's
They
it.
don't look
got
at
the
anything
name.
else. That's it.
Here's what everyone's listing as the front runners. Pixar's Soul, which, in all honesty, deserves it. That is a phenomenal film.
Yeah, I
Rather
haven't watched it
beautiful.
yet. but-
Wolf Walkers on Apple TV. Didn't even hear of it until this. Pixar's Onward, which is definitely not as strong as the films from Japan.
But, you know,
it's Pixar. DreamWorks' The Croods New Age, a sequel. Who would have thought? The first one also got in there and didn't win it. Why bother? And Netflix's Over the Moon, which apparently
Oh, I watched that.
Yeah.
That's
Good?
nice.
it's very nice. It's very slick, but it's also kind of a little bit. It feels hand drawn almost.
It's
in a way.
beautiful because of it's from culturally, it's really. It feels nice.
Yeah.
Especially from my culture. But I think the way it's drawn is actually it gets a lot of it feels very Pixar-y.
It
I
is.
guess,
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it's up against. Now, I would pretty comfortably say that the Croods, Onward, and Wolf Walkers are all at risk of being knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
And Lupin the Third, the First, is probably the most, I guess you could say, Western acceptable Lupin film.
That was
Okay.
great.
Like, it has the 3-act structure. It's got the CG, which looks very similar and akin to Pixar's CG.
Yep.
It has a good soundtrack. It has a good cast of characters. It doesn't have any swearing.
Okay.
So it
such a
works.
great movie.
It works well in that category, and it hasn't even been considered as far as all the critics are concerned. And
Seriously?
these are people who are actually part of that committee saying it is for their thing.
This is why I just don't do award shows
And,
anymore.
Well, this is what we were saying. It's like they're definitely because these will all do really well in Japan's awards, so because all of these are already in the list for Japan's anime awards for March, April, and they will all do well.
because they watch this stuff and know what it is. I don't think the people at the Oscars are.
Well, they've changed the rules.
I'm not
going to
waste any breath on
Yeah,
this.
I feel like anime has never really been a big thing in our in the Oscar culture.
Well, it's
That makes
because
sense.
most of
It's
the
not
judges
They
are
don't
cranky
want
old
it to
men.
be.
Yeah,
honest.
and it's not mainstream, and they probably don't
Yeah,
look at it.
it's not Disney,
Yeah,
it's not-
and that's why you've got
not corporate.
Pixar, you've got Netflix,
We've got DreamWorks.
you've got DreamWorks, and they're like, "Yep, this is animation done plump."
This is
Yeah.
money.
You know, that's it.
Where did Your Name land though? Did
You-
that get an Oscar
No,
nom?
didn't even get it. Well, it was included in the shortlist, but it wasn't selected.
Ridiculous.
Oh, what?
Yep. I mean, look, Weathering with You definitely not as strong a film as Your Name,
No, Your Name
but
definitely.
even that didn't get a nod for
Not-
visuals or effects or anything.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's ridiculous.
It
They
is.
made so much money from Your Name. Like,
Yeah,
can
well-
you not just look at the statistics and go, "Oh, maybe this is successful and people actually
Yeah,
like
but
it"?
maybe watch it.
The thing with Your Name was so different to anything I've seen before. Weathering with You was just meh
Well, look,
to me.
Weathering with You, like I love the film, but it definitely got bogged down in its message over its story, and that's where it suffered. But we are seeing more and more anime films qualifying, and they're making the effort to qualify. It's not as simple as submitting your film to the Oscars and saying we'd like to be considered. You have to have a set cinema run in California and in New York for a set amount of weeks and run for that time to qualify.
So this is where Demon Slayer might fault because it's not even in.
It's had a solid run in California and a solid run in New York. So
and we
it's
were saying
qualified.
before it was the top hitting
Yeah,
film.
you wouldn't get in this list if you hadn't already
Okay,
qualified.
fair.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
it be hilarious if Demon Slayer charted at the Oscars, like just won all the things?
Well,
That'd be nice. Well, I mean,
look, I'll be honest, it won't. And there's it's not because
standalone-ish, really.
Well, that's exactly it. It's because it's a continuation of a story, and that's what'll. I mean, as you said, Fafa, you can go in. I need to get the buzzer where it says. I forgot where I've put it. But oh yeah, okay, we got that. We, as you pointed out, and rightly so, like you can come into Demon Slayer film and not know what's going on and still be able to follow the story, but it does benefit from having that prior knowledge, and that'll be why people won't vote for it, because they'll go, I don't actually understand this. This requires prior reading, and that's the problem. And as we've said, like for standalone films, if a standalone film requires prior reading, you've done it wrong. But in this case, it is designed to be a continuation of a story.
Yeah.
So that, it makes perfect sense. But enough about the Oscars and cranky old white men in California. Let's talk about California, with the Anime Expo being cancelled for 2021.
Yeah.
So, Anime Expo 2021 has been cancelled in LA. It's one of the largest anime conventions in the US. They're going to hold another digital convention on July 4th called Anime Expo Lite.
So every year I always say, I need to do Anime Expo. And I was saying that for like the last 2 years. And like last year was going to be my year. I was going to do AX finally because I'm getting a bit older my age as well, you know. And I want to do it at least once in my life.
I don't want to go there with a walking stick.
No, I don't.
Unless I'm in character.
Or, if I want to have kids in the future, it'd be impossible to go to something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So like, this was like, my gap where I, maybe thinking about going to Anime Expo. Thank you, COVID, very much. But
everything changed with
everything's
COVID,
just gone to dark with the fact that we can't actually travel to America, really.
Oh no!
But
I mean, we can't even go to Japan, and we're pretty close, all things considered. And same as like quarantine restrictions, we have the similar ones.
It's the same.
No, it's exactly the same. My hairdresser, Moto's from Japan, and he lives here. And I was asking, like, can you go back and see his family? He's like, I can, but I've got to do the 2 weeks quarantine there and the 2 weeks quarantine here. Because he's you got to pay for it, and he's a citizen. So going back to Japan, fine. Coming back to Australia, they're not necessarily honouring the existing visas people are on. No. So that's the problem.
It's like all the student visas, they're all stuck there. Wherever they are.
Yeah.
It's just a shame, really. But in saying that, come on, guys, you can't really hold a big convention like that, especially in the US.
Not in the US.
Not in the US. Like, I mean, no offense to our US listeners, of course. We realise the situation over there hasn't worked out well.
No.
It's been pretty dire.
We've done pretty well in Australia. Like, they've got a pretty good system in place, but that's already because we have strict quarantine rules.
I know, it's just getting better for us here in WA, unfortunately.
But I feel like in the US, everyone, the vaccines have rolled out.
Oh yeah.
And I think, like, from what I can see, like, even all the American Idols are back on, and all the they're all back. Seems to be back to normal.
Well, the thing is, they never stopped. That's the thing. Like, there was never a proper lockdown because people went that infringes on our rights, picked up their guns, and I mean, just have a look at what happened in Florida about 12 months ago. It's not going to happen. And unfortunately, that's just the way the things are set up in the US at the moment. And, change of administration may help in quelling the situation.
Yep.
But we
don't know because it's still going to... That's a lot of people.
But good call on Anime Expo to be like, okay, you know what? We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're going to make the right decision by everyone and not hold this crazy
We've
convention.
got their little thing that they've put up on their website. So with the continued uncertainty around the COVID pandemic, it's apparent that there will not be a way to safely hold a physical show this July for Anime Expo. We will miss gearing up for a full weekend of parading around the LACC and reuniting with friends just as much as you will, but we take comfort in knowing that this separation is only temporary and it's the right thing to do. While we're not able to meet in person, we still want to celebrate 2021 in honour of the fact it's our 30th anniversary, and we will continue to share stories, photos with the hashtag Anime Expo 30th hashtag. So they're doing the right things, and all attendees are going to be, and also this is important, the Artist Alley guys, they've been fully refunded.
Oh, beautiful.
So they're all going to get part of that transition to the new system, and if you opt to roll over, you can. So just like we've seen with Anime Texas and so on, if you want to keep that ticket till next year, they'll honour it.
Wicked.
So
I'm just going to ask, obviously with HoshiCon and stuff like that, that was a big thing. I mean, yes, we are lucky here that we have, pretty safe standards and stuff like that. But that would have been a big thing playing on your mind, really.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the convention was going to happen until that, the first 50 people walked through the door.
What if nobody comes?
No, I just was ready to cancel it.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at the news, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and they were setting up the stage, and I went, this could still not happen, We could go into lockdown right now and I have to pull everything.
Yeah.
Actually, Asami, I still have a few friends who are wondering, when's the next one?
But mind you, HoshiCon was never a thing. It was meant to be a one-off thing, and that's what I had planned it for it not to continue.
Well, guess what?
Guess what? A lot of people, turns out they didn't know it even happened and were really disappointed they couldn't get tickets.
Yes, and everybody who did go really want another one.
Yeah, go figure. Now, let's move on to our last topic. There's a live-action Hellsing film coming.
I beg your pardon?
And it's being done by the John Wick writer. So,
no way.
Yep. Derek Kolstad has gone and grabbed Kota Hirano's work and said, yeah, I want to do a live action. And I'm thinking,
how?
Okay, on the one hand, live action anime adaptations are notoriously ouch.
Yeah.
On the other hand, The blokes behind John Wick are doing this.
So it's not only John Wick, he's behind the John Wick franchise, all of the films, and Marvel's Falcon and Winter Soldier executive producer.
Lord.
And it's been done by Amazon Studios. And
Money.
If you've seen the difference that happened with The Expanse between season 3 and 4, whoa, money.
Money makes all the difference. But like a project like this, you gotta ask, who in the hells do you get to play Alucard?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert.
Wow, yes,
Press that button now.
I mean, I don't know though. No,
I'm
I don't think.
for it.
I don't think
I'm
he could
taking
do
the
it.
Mickey. I think if Robert Pattinson was ever going to play another vampire character, it would actually be Dracula.
Yeah.
I honestly think he's
I
too
could
scarred
see-
from it, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I can't see his
I
Batman.
honestly don't, because like you can see in all of his interviews and stuff that he was having a great laugh with that entire affair.
Now, if you aren't aware of what Hellsing is, it is a vampire series. It ran about 11 years ago, so it ran in Young King Hours magazine from 97 till 2008, 11-year run. Wow. The series did what a lot of series in the early 2000s did when the manga wasn't finished, and they just wrapped it up themselves. And then because of that, there's Hellsing Ultimate, which is a direct video series which took 10 years to release.
Yeah, it's
sporadically. They
it's
kept
a
running
lot.
out of funding.
It's beautiful though. Hellsing Ultimate is just this gorgeous visual affair. And it also has an abridged version out there.
Yes, Hellsing
As every
Abridged
good anime should
is amazing.
Done by the incredible folks at Team 4-Star.
Yes. Now, once again, parental guidance warning. Hellsing not necessarily for kids.
I don't think it's the furthest thing from 4 kids.
It definitely won't be asking if this is actually, a delicious jelly donut. But
no, it's blood. That is in fact a heart. That is a human heart.
Dark Horse Comics do the Western release of it. You can get hardcover deluxe volumes of the series. They shipped out into last year, the first 3 deluxe. So they're 3-volume hardcovers. So they're slamming a lot in there. You can get like the omnibus versions of Naruto and Ranma. It's the same sort of thing, but big and chunky. But yeah, more to come on that to know when it's heading to Amazon. Amazon's pretty quick on their turnaround. It's not like some of the others where they're just like, oh yeah, we're making Akira 10 years later. Are we still doing this? Yes, we've changed everyone involved.
I'm still so sorry.
I'm still so salty about that. But it does mean we get Thor: Love and Thunder. So I'm willing to wait till after Thor: Love and Thunder for Akira. And we do know that Taika Waititi will do it justice because he's a massive Akira fan, the manga fan as well. Right, let's head back to the cinemas.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
We'll be there on time. There's 20 minutes of ads.
Cinema Club.
We actually had this happen, and I think Lady Fafa had a similar.
I didn't. So I thought I'd have the 20-minute ad thing. So I was like, the movie started at 11. So I thought, I've got time to like roll in, stuff like that. It did not happen. It started I rolled in and they were on the train. I was like, oh no.
Oh no. Oh, Jojo. I've got too many buttons now. It's really bad. I keep playing with them.
I need buttons.
You don't need buttons. That's the last thing you need on the side of the table. We had the 7 o'clock session and we casually strolled in at about 25 past and they literally were recapping the start of the series. When they were going, because obviously we had the scene where, the master's talking beforehand and going, blah, blah, blah. This graveyard full of my children. And then we're just like, so, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie, Mugen Train. Choo-choo, Mugen Reshahen, I should say. UFO table, ufotable, whatever you want to call it. They're a UFO. They're out of this world. It's great. Yep, it's out of this world animation.
There we go.
Yeah. Runtime, 1 hour, 57 minutes. Which is pretty good.
It is.
That's a really good runtime.
Didn't feel like
you're
it.
watching this and you're thinking, wow, that was over quickly, and then it just
keeps going.
Right.
Same genres as you'd expect: action, historical, demon, supernatural. Key thing to note: not PG.
It's MA15 plus.
It's MA15 or R17, depending on your market.
And yet I brought my 4-year-old to watch it.
I got some.
Yeah, do you want to know a funny story about that, actually?
Okay, tell me.
So I was walking through and I saw these like teenagers had been stopped at the front and the entry, and the lady was saying to them, "You need your ID to come watch this movie."
Boy.
Because it's 15 plus.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't let them through, and here's me sneaking my 4-year-old, 6-year-old into the cinema as parental guidance.
What, did you sneak them into your jacket or something?
No, I just told them,
No, the
come on,
best-
kids, let's go. Let's pretend we're watching something else.
Or did you like get them to like sit on top of each other's shoulders, put them on your shoulders, and put a big overcoat on?
No. The best
What?
story
What?
from that was when you messaged our group chat and was like, "Oh yeah, it was all in Japanese, but you know,
I think
They
one of
still
them
liked
understood it.
I didn't understand anything.
Yeah, they didn't understand the dialogue. They just really liked the blood and guts and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
So
definitely what they like.
I have concerns about how they're going to grow up. But,
Yeah, no,
amazing.
yeah.
So,
I mean, my sister showed me Jurassic Park when I was 3, so...
Me too. I was terrified, Stuart. I'm
So
terrified.
let's talk about the actual film. So firstly, this is actually a continuation. It's not like we're used to with a lot of. I mean, this is becoming more common for anything that's done by UFO Table. Wiz. Why am I going Wiz?
Wiz
was the bad
Bang.
one.
Wiz.
WZ handshakers.
You were thinking Viz.
No, WZ is what I was thinking for some reason.
Okay.
They keep doing handshakers and keep rebooting it and keep putting a different name on it. So they had.
But yeah, so-
DJ. But a lot more of these bigger like mappers done it as well. Their films are not standalone. They're continuity. They're canon.
Does that kind of make them more... Does that kind of make them required viewing as far as like the anime goes?
I think so.
I think so. I think. Well, let's be honest. If you went and watched hadn't watched the Demon Slayer film and watched season 2, you've missed a major story arc.
Oh yeah,
developments.
definitely.
Like there's a lot.
It's the filler in between the seasons.
Pitter patter, people, get at her.
But in saying that, My Hero did it too.
Well, my Hero's films are non-canon.
It's annoying.
yes.
Yeah, it's
Like, they are written by the original author.
See,
but
I was wondering if this was going to be a lot more like
My Hero.
My Hero's movies, or like Naruto's movies, or like
Yeah.
Bleach. Remember how they just had sort of like a movie? It included all the characters
the
and
Dragon
stuff.
Ball movies where they're just like, here's a power we'll never see again. Hey, Gohan has a dragon. Where did that go? I think he ate it. Like,
Exactly. So you're thinking, okay, so is this going to be some standalone thing, some like big cinematic, beautiful affair, which is going to be great, but ends with sort of like a zero sum? Nothing has changed. No.
And that's the thing. When I went to watch it with my hubby, he was like, "Oh, that's part of the actual story," and I was like, "Yeah," and he went, "Oh,
Yeah, kind of a massive.
massive."
If you don't
big,
see it,
big.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's worth noting we aren't going to obviously spoil the film. We can
Much
let
as
you.
we bloody want
We
to.
can let you know that it's essentially divided into 2 parts, and you don't kind of realize it until it happens.
Oh yeah.
Because the story is amazing, and it follows directly on from that last episode. It even takes the scene from the episode 26 where they're running after to jump on the train, but it fills in some of the blanks as they go.
It does.
And you learn a lot more. I mean, look, I've already mentioned that I struggle with Zenitsu, and I was very glad that he didn't have many speaking lines.
I just loved him in the film, though. I loved those.
I did. I
Yeah,
loved
I
it.
He was good in the film.
I
the
adored his
comedy
dream
of it.
sequence.
Yeah.
His dream
so did
sequence
I.
was great.
My kids love Zenitsu. They just
Yeah.
think every time he screams, it's like the funniest thing
And
ever.
I know, and I think that's exactly why
Why
they've
he's
done
there,
it.
yes.
They've done it to appeal to that under 10 demographic, even though they're not meant to be reading or watching it.
Why are they appealing to a demographic that shouldn't
because
be?
they will watch it.
They will watch
They
it.
will
Yeah,
watch
it's
it.
colourful.
But your characters, you've got Nezuko and Tanjiro, you've got Zenitsu, you've got Nisoko, and you've got Rengoku, Kyojuro, the Flame, Hashira, who's... Look, initially I thought he was an utter dumb guy. He was a dumbo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially when you first meet him, and you will have probably seen the picture of him eating rice. It's an interesting scene.
Delicious.
Oh, there is. Sorry to interrupt. There is a reason why he actually talks like that
Yeah.
through the manga, but I
Yeah,
don't want
no-
to have any spoilers.
No,
Ah.
if it doesn't spoil the overall story and
No, it
provides
doesn't.
more background to him, please
does.
enlighten us.
All right, so there is a side story of the manga of him, but he versus a demon where the demon uses his ears, so he makes himself deaf. by blasting his ears with his power. So that's why he talks like that. And he's like, this is great. It's because he can't hear.
That makes
He's deaf.
sense.
Yes, I don't know if that's a spoiler, but you can take it out if it is.
Well, no.
No, but that makes a lot of sense.
provides a lot of context. Because
Yes.
look, let's be honest. His story, as far as the greater Demon Slayer arc, is kind of contained in this. It explains his connection and his importance and what role he plays. And I haven't read the rest of the manga, but it feels very definitive. Like, this is his story. You've now understand who this character is before we move on to the next Hashira. And they're going to do that by the sounds of each arc will explore each Hashira's background, their story, and their powers.
I honestly didn't see him as sort of like a dummy. I just saw him as sort of like Flame All Might.
Actually, I was just going to say, he was like the All Might of the series.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it, actually, yeah. And then you've also got Enmu, the lower one character of the 12 Demons, who was introduced in the last couple of episodes of the series. And, he's got his drive is very clear as to why he's doing what he's doing, and it makes sense, and that's further expanded upon as the series goes on. And there's a reason why it's called the Mugen Train, and it's why it's that arc, and it's all connected to trains in space. No. Japan loves trains.
So if this wasn't like a big anime movie, this would have been like a big sort of like 12-episode deal.
This would have been the first 12 episodes of season 2 if it wasn't a film.
Yes, and I think that's why they had to just make it a film.
Yeah, because you can fit all that in a film.
Yeah.
But if you had to then do that as a series, you'd end up with filler, I feel.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because there is filler during the Demon Train.
I could see it, though. Like, one episode would be one dream sequence, another would be another dream sequence. They could probably flesh it out a bit more, so to speak. But
It would go forever.
it would just go forever.
It's called the Eternal Train.
And this is
so-
because I've spoken to you about this. It's the original series itself. I felt it was a bit of a drag, like the first few episodes.
Yeah,
and
we have actually discussed this. Pacing for Demon Slayer's series isn't very good. And there are ways they can fix it, but I mean, when you compare that to say like
Naruto.
Jujutsu Kaisen, the pacing on Jujutsu Kaisen covers the same three things in that episode without it feeling slow. Whereas, unfortunately, I think just because how deep and emotional that content was, there's a reason why the story has been told that way, and I feel like if they cut any more out of it to streamline it, it would have felt less sincere.
I feel like there is a lot to set up, so it needs that kind of runway. It needs that kind of length to actually get itself set up and organized, to actually introduce you to how the world works, how the demons work, how the superpowers work. Actually, that's kind of a weird segue I'd like to go on. In the show, you see that people have these like breathing abilities, and you see it sort of take place as these grand like blasts of water and fire and stuff like that. Here's the big question. Are those big like special abilities actually happening, or are those more representations of the abilities?
I think they're more representational of the ability, like you know, like how when they do
Tanjiro,
like the third form and the fifth form.
Yeah.
And
When
so
Tanjiro
on.
sort of like is running forward and he's got the
breaths.
big stream of water flowing off his
the water
blade.
breath. Yeah. It's
Absolutely
amazing.
beautiful. But is that actually, like, if you were in that universe, is that big thing of water actually happening?
I'm going to say no.
Or is that a representation?
I'm going to say it's representative of the ability, because when you remember how they mentioned that, put your sword away. The Demon Slayer are not officially recognized organization. If they were an officially recognized organization, they'd essentially be the Ministry of Magic.
But there's this chapter in the manga where the kids are like, show us, and he does it. And then the kids are like, well, that's so cool, which makes me think. I'm not going to say which characters they are, but
or is that just them showing off their sword?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I don't know.
I like to think from just from looking at the traditions around swordsmanship and all that, it's them taking their style and giving it form mentally.
Yeah,
but
I think so too.
Not necessarily, literally creating. Actually, we've just mentioned this, using fire. Rengoku bursts his own eardrums. Does he use fire to do that?
No, he just goes pump.
Oh, okay.
I can't describe that on
Yeah, no, that's fair, because
What do you reckon, Fafa?
It's a hard one. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just like...
Because I feel like the fire literally manifested as fire in the
Well,
world.
that's what I thought too, and then now you're just making me question it, Kenny.
Well, there's the pillar of love. You can't exactly spout love hearts around, you know.
Hey, now, it's not Sailor Moon. Like, you know.
We've
know
seen
what I
Venus
mean?
too.
Like, pillow of love. She's a pillow of love.
Pew love power.
That's what I love about anime movies. They tell you exactly what's happening as they, you know, fight. Like, it's like, I'm going to, you know.
Oh, they name their
they
attack.
name, and that was a big thing in this movie. Is I was like, yes, this is an anime movie.
Well, I've got the perfect answer to this question.
Both.
Let's just go with both.
why not
Let's
both?
just go with both.
Yeah.
Now, Demon Slayer, we've mentioned this many times on the podcast, but it's just destroyed the box office. So Japan, it's in its 20th week. It's back to number 2. It went down to number 3 because of 2 new releases, but that's the only time it's been out of the top 2.
Look, I love anime movies. Don't get me wrong, and I think this movie was definitely fantastic. But I don't know if it's worthy of that number 1.
Here's the thing: it hasn't got competition. And
yes, that's what I think it
that's
is,
the situation.
to be honest.
People were really excited for it because it was coming out. 2, it's got a big fan base to begin with, and it's, to be honest, I think Demon Slayer is the current generation, this current generation of new anime fans is My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball. It's their big shonen hit that gets them into the gates.
Yes.
And I think that's why. And because of the hype that's building and because of how integrated younger people are with social media and the internet these days, it's spread a lot further than it normally would. Like, can you imagine if with Naruto, when it first came out, we had that level of internet access we have now? How big it could have become.
It was already big, but just imagine.
See, that's the thing I find about the entire Demon Slayer franchise is nothing about it is new or original as far as shonen goes.
No, it's
No.
not.
A lot of this is stuff that you've seen before, and I actually made this comment way back when we were first watching this thing first come out.
Yes.
But it's that a lot of it is very much refined.
Yeah.
It knows that it's doing shonen, and so it's taking a look at every single element and going, okay, what is the reasoning behind this? And how can we improve on it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of refined it. It's sharp. It's like it was a dull blade. Shonen has been a dull, well-used blade, and they've come along and really polished it up to make it very poignant and different.
To the point where if someone says like, okay, what can you could you explain the shonen genre to me? I'll just hand them Demon Slayer. There you go.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, it's a prime example of the shonen genre, just like My Hero Academia is. Yeah. Now, we have to, as we always do for Cinema Club, finish with an arbitrary rating out of 5 for the film. Now, this is your personal view. You can say it's 5. You can say it's 6. Do whatever you feel fitting, but how you felt as a film it worked. So, Kenny?
I'm going to go 4.5 flaming blades out of 5.
It's
It's
the
like
flaming blades as well too. That's the
Flaming blades.
Well, you have there's demon boxes, there's bento boxes, there's train cars,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
demons, train boxes.
Actually, that's a good one. Trade boxes.
What are you thinking, Fafa? You've just come from it. We've had
Yeah,
a few
I-
days to digest it, but you're still in that
Literally
euphoric
fresh
after
off
this.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a solid 4.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say it's like the best movie I've ever seen. Like, I get the hype.
Yeah.
I do. But I wouldn't say I'd like run to go and see it again. I'll probably get it out when it comes up, you know, on Netflix or whatever will come out on Netflix eventually.
Oh, Funimation will definitely
and
end up with
Funimation.
it.
And this is a funny thing. I watched it with dub. So going and watching it with the sub was much better in my opinion.
Yes.
we definitely need to have the sub versus dub debate at some point.
Yeah, eventually. But you know what? I love the comedy of Demon Slayer. Like, you know, the animation, that comedy animation is just so old school for me as well. And I just I always gravitate. You know, there's certain things that come up in the film as well, and I'm just like, me. But animation-wise, you can't go past it, man.
You can't.
Those scenes
It's
are
so slick.
unreal. It's just
Yes.
slick. and it's-
Asumi, how do you feel about it?
I think if we talk about context, I think if it's in the Demon Slayer world and its comparison of how well I think it was made was definitely 5 out of 5 for it. As a film, as a standalone film, I'll probably just go around the 4.5 because I do think there's better films out there,
Yeah.
like animated films, like Your Name. I would give Your Name a 5, but I can't.
I'd give it a 6.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely.
I think it's that because it has that established background, that
Yes.
definitely gives it more weight.
It pumps it up. It
does,
gives it
does.
more
I'm
power.
biased. I'm 100% biased. So.
Oh, yeah. And that's why we asked you to join us this episode.
Carl, what would you give it?
I think I'll go 4 demon boxes.
Demon boxes.
Demon boxes, Nesco boxes.
I like that.
There is a reason there is hype around this film. It is exceptionally well produced. It has got incredibly good pacing. The dialogue's interesting and memorable. The characters are memorable as well.
And the villains are great in this.
The way the story flows throughout that 2-hour period is perfectly paced, and you're never bored.
True.
Like that was one thing. Like, usually if I get bored in a film, I'll go to the bathroom. I never once wanted to leave. I never once was like, oh, I need to quickly pop out. No, I was glued to the screen for the entire thing. And that says a lot.
And the big thing with this one was the feel factor as well.
Yeah. Like
the messages
I guess
a
fair warning coming forward for this. This is a very emotional
goodness.
scene. Like,
roller coaster train.
Roller coaster train. It's a train ride and a half.
And that was another thing. Studio we went to, packed.
Yeah.
So hard to actually find an empty seat for this.
Well, COVID had those empty seat gaps, but it was packed.
Well, I mean, this is the thing as well. Like, normally when we get anime films here in Perth, we get them at Inaloo, the Megaplex in Inaloo, and Carousel. This was on at every single Hoyts. It was on at every event cinemas. It was on at the independent cinemas.
Yeah.
It was on at the Eastern State cinemas that have single branches here.
And just hearing
it was big.
The whole audience laughing along at the jokes, crying at the appropriate time. It's just like,
and when Nezuko made her appearance for the first time, everyone in the cinema went,
I actually really loved her. Like, she was very much a side character in this whole movie. Like, you didn't really see her as a real big character.
Yeah, she didn't have as much presence.
When she was there, she was there.
Yeah.
That was
well, I mean, let's be honest. Like, this film is actually about Tenjiro and Rengoku. Like that's the two people.
And
it
that was
about.
good.
And that was good because they didn't spread it too much. Because can you imagine if they tried to show Inosuke and Zensu's background the entire time as well? Like, it would have slowed the pacing. It would have taken a lot away from it.
They just gave enough, especially when they went into the
family stuff as well was what broke my heart.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was sobbing. It was bad. I was really embarrassed.
Well, if you haven't seen the Demon Slayer film and you haven't seen Demon Slayer, you can still probably go catch it and understand a fair bit of it.
Yeah.
I would recommend watching the first couple of epissodes, which is on pretty much the entire Funimation suite at the moment.
It's on Netflix. It's on Anime Lab. Yeah, everything pretty much.
It's currently earned $356.8 million US.
Just the movie.
Just the movie worldwide.
Just go open-minded as well. Don't go in thinking, hype. Actually, really go open-minded with this one.
Just go, it's an anime film and it's going to be interesting. But look, definitely go check it out. It should still be in cinemas for quite a while, but we are getting close to that time, so we do need to wrap up.
Kawaii-Fi.
Yes, that is where we need to leave things for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us once again and for sticking around to the end. Next episode, we haven't decided what we're doing, but we may have a special guest. Ooh. And we will let you know in the coming days if that's happening. It is an internet person.
A person from the internet?
From potentially North America, if this works. Because it's a 12-hour time difference for us. And it's going to be interesting. So we're going to have to either record at like 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. And that actually might work because that's the weekend Japan Fest is on, so we could do it after the festival.
Sounds good to me.
Actually, that could. Oh, yeah, that could work.
That could really work.
So stay glued like a rabbit in the headlight. Check for our announcements. We will be announcing it very
We'll
soon.
announce it when it's out. Asumi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We will have you back again.
Thank you. It was fun. I had fun.
Oh. Now, if you aren't already subscribed to Asumi's TikTok, Instagram, everything, that will all be in this episode's details, along with all the Hoshi information for whatever happens for the upcoming future of HoshiCon, StarCon.
But definitely go and check out Hoshi Cosmetics as well.
Yeah,
so
especially
good.
if you're in Australia, because you can get a lot of good stuff very quickly.
If you're into cosplay and stuff like that, it's perfect.
Now, if you have enjoyed what you've heard this episode and you're new to the channel, or even if you've been here for a while but haven't hit that subscribe button,
please hit it.
You should do it. You should smash it. We have an entire community on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we've got breaking news and videos and memes. And don't worry, we've mentioned this before, but while we do bring news, we did not get zooked. We did not get taken off Facebook.
We didn't actually.
By Zuckerberg
even though
apparently we're not newsy enough.
Oh no, we made a deal with the Zuck.
What did we do?
What did you do?
I sacrificed some souls.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Facebook logins. Got it.
But yes, like Discord is coming. We're just working around with that as well.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's a good place and that there's interesting things to do on there. But you've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, watch some anime! I forgot to tell Asumi about that.
Watch some anime!
Do you want to try it again?
Yeah, let's do it again.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Watch some anime!
Yeah, that was good.